ICOs and the optimal marketing mix. An esteemed panel of crypto experts offers invaluable insights into ICO marketing. Chris Obereder, Trade.io. Maximilian Max Kops, STO advisor. Ivan Maslennikov, Run CPA. Jan Phillippe Hofste, TV2. Sergey Khitrov, ICO-top.io. Moderated by Marco Kalikia, Mazi.
Hello everyone, thank you for staying this long. I mean, they've kind of left the best for last, I would say, right? I mean, the youngest crowd here. Yeah. I'm surprised that they actually mentioned my name correctly, not coming from a speaker. So I'm here with Chris, Max, Evan, and Sergey. To give you a brief introduction, we're going to be talking about how to run an ICO marketing strategy or an optimal one. We will try our best, seeing how the market is going. I run a marketing and community management agency, Mazi. We've done around 30 ICOs. We actually just did 1 year today. So we're 1 year in the industry. So we've seen the whole ups and downs, but I've been in blockchain for the past 3 years. Invested really early in Ethereum and Stellar, and I'm here.
Okay, great. Yeah, great to be here. Do we want to stand up or something like that to wake up? You know, you've all been sitting for hours now, so maybe let's stand up, do a backflip or something, whatever you can do. Yeah, let's stand up, maybe. Yeah, just stretch a bit, and then we'll get started. Yeah. Any backflips, something like that? Yeah. Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
So yeah, and then I've been in Silicon Valley the last 2 years now. I've been in the app business beforehand. And then basically from the app business, I shifted in the ICO business into marketing crypto. And now I'm part of one of the second biggest crypto app. We manage $5 billion in crypto. In total, it's called CoinStats. And I've done 4 ICOs and been in the marketing scene. So looking forward to this.
Yeah, nice to meet you as well. My name is Max. I'm currently advising several projects that are doing an ICO or an STO, such as Micro, which is also here with a booth. And I dived into the space in 2013 when I started Bitcoin mining from home. And I quickly realized that there's a lot more potential in the blockchain in general. So I was covering the technical part of it, and I got to know about the ICO space, which offers, in my opinion, a very great new method of financing startups. And therefore, I'm currently advising several ones, especially in marketing and fundraising.
Hi there. I'm Evan. My journey in crypto started back in 2014 as I was a product manager of a crypto exchange right after the MTGOX collapse. Then I switched to some more marketing activity, and right now I'm running my own company. It's runcpa.com. We do traffic acquisition for crypto-related projects. That's it.
Hi, my name is Sergey. I have got experience around 11 years in internet advertising, but 1 year ago I sold all my advertising company. Now I'm founder of listing.help. We are the largest in the market who listed project on crypto exchanges. We listed more than 300 projects, and we work with more than 70 exchanges. Also, ICO-top.io, Blockchain Life, and I have got on crypto fund.
Perfect. So how many of you here in the audience are currently running an ICO or considering to run one?
Or STOs, of course.
STO.
Let's do STOs.
STOs? Okay. Perfect. So my question, to start with Chris, because you've run 4 ICOs, we'll take STOs as an example as well. So myself, when I started last year with our projects, we saw that a lot of projects were raising through communities. So community management was one of the strongest things. This is why I started a community agency. Right now, it's shifted a bit more to events and private investments. Have you seen the same in your space through your ICOs?
Yeah, I would agree with that, definitely. So the community aspect is not so important anymore, although it's very important still. But those communities, many burned their hands, of course. So those communities, many are very careful now. So look at all the Telegram groups, like when they had 50,000 in December, 50,000 members, maybe they have 30,000 now. So a lot of people left the scene as well. And that's always in like hype and bear market. You know, right now it's bear market, and right now it's more like bigger investors and not so much the community. Like the community, basically the hype community, a lot of them left now. So those are the ones that jump on when Bitcoin moons, what you call it, and they leave again once it plummets. So now they left. A lot of them left. So if you're trying to get them as investors, it's probably not the best idea. So ads right now don't work anymore, kind of. And basically, right now it shifted. So that's the STO model should get more institutional money and like bigger investors in than like the ICO model. Yeah. Max, maybe add to this. Yeah.
I think this differentiation is really important because most of the projects, they just put money and time into the marketing without thinking about their community, because most of the projects have been starting with a community and they build a B2C product where the community actually matters. But what we see now is that especially with the rise of STOs, this matter of finance gets interesting for projects that are not coming from a blockchain sphere, and there are many projects that actually don't need a community. So what I see is that many people put the effort only on the numbers to have possibly big groups of Telegram members and all this stuff, while they completely miss out the accordance to the right investors, because that's what you said. If you have an ICO, an STO, you're targeting mainly the big investors, and you don't really focus on the community because you're not building your future customers. And this is the first decision to take. It sounds really obvious. However, that's what I saw from many projects. I was speaking about their marketing. That's what many people leave out, and they just invest the money in building a community they don't need at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But building community is a required step when negotiating with funds and big players. So you still have to do some stuff that brings like very little value to your project, to the development of the ecosystem, if I can say so. But you still have to do it. It's kind of weird.
I agree with my colleague, but if I need additionally say, I think every ICO now need to create hype around project, because you need to have that a lot of customers, investors should discuss your project on social media, on forum, on comments, and I think every ICO project should have department which work with investor funds, because we know that almost money now for good ICO from investor funds.
Yeah, you mentioned a good point, Chris, about, before we used to see channels with 50,000, 60,000 members. Now that's become more of a bounty thing or an airdrop thing. What do you think about something like coming to events? Is this based on your experience and all your experiences? I mean, have you seen a return on investment on events?
Okay, events. Yeah, events are definitely, that's where it's all heading right now. And again, coming back to the communities also, as Max pointed out, the utility token, the idea was that it's like a Kickstarter model. You buy the product, then you have the community. But many communities didn't actually work like that. So we had the community, but they weren't really the utility token. Like we all don't use most of the utility tokens every day. So it's not, the use case was kind of not the way we wished it would be. So right now those communities are not so strong, and now the events are a good way to meet like larger investors, and that's hopefully the security model will be very very basically regulated. So it will, that I hope there will be a lot of regulation, and I'm hoping for more and more regulation in the space. Max, go for it.
I think there are two types of marketing that you can do, because most of the projects, they focus on blockchain marketing, and that's what you were referring to probably by events, because most of the people go to blockchain events, and it depends. Like if the product is about the blockchain, it makes sense to go to blockchain events, but many projects, they are launching a service that hasn't been existing before. Let's say you're creating a new way of producing energy. And most people leave out to go to energy conferences, they just go to blockchain conferences. And it really depends, because in many ways, and I think that's a good path we are taking, the blockchain stays behind, and it just makes the process more efficient, and the end user doesn't see the blockchain. So then you should really decide if you're going to a blockchain conference or an energy conference, while on the other hand, you have the infrastructure projects where you definitely target the people you can find at blockchain conferences.
Well, I think a lot of people here come to events, or at least the ones running an STO or an ICO, the primary reason is for finding investors. Do you think, based on your experience, that you've seen a lot of people finding investors at events, or are there other places they should be looking for their investors?
It really depends. I think you can raise a lot of money on events, but as I said, it should be really targeted, because if you are really an infrastructure project, and my experience is that many people are looking for this kind of layer in the technologies, it makes totally sense to go to a blockchain conference, and probably you will find interested people. While if you're on the second layer, it gets much more tricky in these conferences, and it might make more sense to go to traditional investors, because they can also understand the project, which is not the case if you're a blockchain startup. Then you should definitely go to a blockchain conference.
Yeah.
I would say it also, Marco, it also depends on if you are willing to sell equity. Like right now, the big investors, they always buy at least 50% equity and then 50% in tokens. So it shifted. They don't just buy tokens usually. They also want to get in with equity. So if you get the large investor, that's like 500K plus, they usually want to have a good stake of equity in there as well, just to know more about it and like be there. They want also then basically go with the equity model, have the tokens, and then have maybe some kind of extra tokens for getting in early, but they just buy the equity right now and then have an option to buy tokens later at a discount. So that's what I'm seeing a lot right now as well.
You see a discount being a good way to incentivize investors, but what about that market making thing? You know, what comes later when the pump and dump comes?
Yeah, if your discount is like 50% or like gets crazy, then no one invests. Like right now, if I see high numbers, high discounts, then I look so close anymore. Then I don't look at that usually. Yeah. So, no, yeah.
That's the true thing, and what also matters is how you're going to solve the project. Because I was speaking about STOs targeting mainly big investors, while if you have a big community with many investors and it's widespread, it lowers the risk of having a volatile token, because it's much more spread over the world. There is no pump and dump done by a few parties. I mean, of course, they can organize, but it's much harder, and that's preventing it. Yeah. And also, I was very interested in the point that was mentioned in a previous speech regarding the customer acquisition costs, because this is something you actually gain with a utility token. You have the opportunity to sell a token, which is the access to a future product, and this is already your customer in a way that he owns the matter of access, so he's really likely to exit to use this project.
Yeah. To take it to Evan, to cover a bit more of the abstract of the marketing for ICOs, the affiliate side of marketing. I've been an affiliate marketeer for, I would say, 10 years. I worked for a lot of hosting companies. I see that works for the general consensus, the general space, but have you seen it work for the ICO space where people onboard affiliate marketeers to write about their ICO? Is this something that you've seen working well?
Well, it's completely different compared to the previous year, because as said here many times, like crowd sales are dead. So in terms of traffic acquisition, we're talking about community building, because letting new people know about your project is crucial for its success. You can't like issue a utility token to attract community without letting people know about it. So traffic acquisition procedures and campaigns are mostly focused on like letting people know about your project and trying to make them into it.
If you had to give an advice of how to best do it, how would you do it?
You mean the traffic acquisition strategy,
yeah,
or
the
general
traffic
marketing?
Strategy.
Well, I would say that they should be community focused. So you have to deliver something to the market and let people let them try it. Because if you just have a demo on whatever, on Linux, you say, oh, I have a demo version, it's an MVP version of our product, you can try it, you just download it, and you have no fucking idea what to do with it. Sorry for that.
Let's go ahead and scratch that off.
Sorry for that, really. So if you do a bounty, if you do an airdrop, if you do any marketing activity to drive people to your product, you should definitely have the product working.
Okay. ICO listings, because we've been in the space seeing ICO bench starting, and then it kind of migrated from there to many, many more coming up. Is it still something that you guys all see working very well? Sergey, you run one of the ICO listing sections. Currently, the projects, what do they ask when they list their project? What is their focus? So what are they trying to get in return?
We discuss about listing on a rating agency or listing on crypto exchanges.
Well,
Rating agency.
Yeah, more the listing on their tokens to get more exposure, and then the exchanges after.
If we discuss about listing on rating agency, of course, now rating agency give us less effect than, for example, 1 year ago. But if we discuss about marketing with listing, for example, I think the best advertising it's a listing on crypto exchanges with support media. Now, I think very important that have got agreement from exchanges that your project listed after end of ICO, because investors should see this.
So does it
It's a
matter?
new trend, I think.
I would add to that. In general, like in December times, I looked at the listing pages all day long. And right now I look at them not too often, I have to say, because we all experienced how these ratings got screwed, like basically they got shifted in the positively for the ICO, like ICOs were buying them. So a lot of the stuff in the crypto space is bought, and that's not good, I think. So it should more be quality wins in the end, and it shouldn't be bought. And in the ICO space, what we've seen, a lot of the ratings were bought, and then they had 5 stars, but you can't really, like if they have 5 stars and you put your money just in on that, that's a mistake. So you need to look way more deep. And the good thing with the STOs, you have now the prospects, you can look through everything, all the information, you have way more information you can actually trust. Yeah. So Max, maybe, or you want to add to that, or just...
There's nothing to add.
Okay.
I agree. I mean, initially, these rating platforms were excellent for the case that you were able to invest in a project that's on any place on this world without actually having to meet it. And these rating platforms were putting the transparency into it and showing you whether it's a valuable project or not. But what we apparently saw is that a lot of these ratings got bought, and a lot of them were fake or just not trustable. And therefore, coming back to the very first question, this is why I think events are important, because especially if you raise money in the seed stage, it's all a matter of trust, and it's a person-to-person communication you're doing, and you sell the project, you sell your team especially to people. And when this stage is passed, when you have raised the seed capital, then you can reach out using this money with other marketing strategies, and you can make it big. And the fact that you have big seed investors is already a due diligence for later investors.
Yeah. To almost conclude with this, would you say product first or marketing first?
Definitely product. Yeah. Otherwise, like marketing first doesn't work anymore, and that's good as well. Like it shouldn't be like that. Always product first now, and users first, not just product. And that's what we've seen in the ICO space. They raised, then they found out product doesn't work, people don't like it, and people don't use it. And then they were like, oh, what do we do now? And that shouldn't happen again. So this time we need the product and the users, and then it could work. So for a bright future, we need this. Yeah. Yeah.
Marketing first.
Marketing.
Because if you do not do any marketing, you do not understand your community, your potential investors, and you fail with building the wrong product. So I mean marketing like research.
Okay.
Yeah, more on the research, not like selling the token instantly. Then it's back to...
For me, of course, marketing.
Marketing.
Yeah.
So validate your product first. I would say product with marketing. So validate your product.
Validate it.
Yeah, Miko told me this. He's like, if you want to ever bring your project to the market, validate it first. Get people to understand if it's worth to get into it, and then start raising capital. Yeah. So
awesome.
I think that's it. I mean,
it was fun.
Thank you all for being here. It was a pleasure. I hope you got something good out of these young gentlemen.
Yeah, and if you have more questions, just catch these young gentlemen and then ask them yourself. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.